Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenyan Defense Forces, Your Excellency, Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President. I recognize all other distinguished guests this morning and aligned on the protocols already established. Good morning, everybody. It is indeed an honor for me to join you today for the presentation of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights report on the framework for the compensation and reparation for human rights violations. I stand here on behalf of the judiciary and also the National Council on the Administration of Justice. I see the members of the council here, led by our Attorney General. All the members of NCJ, please be upstanding because we have been carrying this agenda. Thank you very much. We've been carrying this agenda, Your Excellency, on the compensation and reparation, on the operationalization, on the fund for victims compensation. We've also been carrying the agenda on how can we manage the rights provided under Article 37 so that this Constitution of Kenya that has provided us broad provisions on protection of human rights and freedoms of expression does not endanger the lives of our people. So we've been thinking of how we can operationalize Article 37 with a statute, rules of procedure, and even SOPs. And today we are happy that those two very burdensome agendas have been taken from NCJ, but we will work with the Kenya Human Rights Commission, and we will work with the body led by my brother, Professor Makau, to see to it that we protect and we promote the human rights of Kenyans. So, Your Excellency, today's event comes at a particularly important moment in our constitutional journey where we are actually implementing the rights that are guaranteed to our people. And it invites us to reflect on not only the protection of human rights, but also on the equally important question of what happens when those rights are violated. And I agree with all the speakers who have spoken that when you go out to exercise your constitutional rights, your life cannot be endangered. And because at NCAJ, we are duty bearers, all of us, and we've been interrogating this subject, Your Excellency, and we've been able to establish that we have peaceful demonstrations in this country that we can draw experiences from. I'm not a football fan, so I don't know about Arsenal, but I know doctors demonstrate and they do so peacefully. I know teachers demonstrate and they do so peacefully. Even lawyers. In fact, I was whispering to Honorable Junet, he started in 2000. I started demonstrations in 1989 when we were demonstrating for the repeal of Section 2A of our Constitution. So the Constitution that we are building and breathing life to today is a charter that was fought with the brand, that was fought with the demonstrations, and therefore today is a big celebration that our Constitution is truly transformative, and it is recognizing the rights of those who have given their lives to it. The Bill of Rights, Your Excellency, affirms that every person is entitled to the full enjoyment of fundamental rights and freedoms. It also places a corresponding obligation to all state organs and public institutions to respect, protect, and fulfill those rights. I was just saying, when we analyzed our demonstrations, we came to the conclusion is that the protests that have political connotations are the only ones that end up being violent, because we have not seen violence in other demonstrations. And therefore, we've been asking ourselves, how can we moderate the politicians? There are not many, Your Excellency. There are only 1,000, I think, the MCAs, the MPs, and everybody. But how can they make our lives unbearable when they have an issue and they cannot sort it in Parliament? They cannot sort it in the county assemblies. They bring them all over the place to disrupt the lives of other Kenyans. So I thank my sister Clarence and the entire Kenya National Human Rights Commission for coming up with a very concise report that guides us on how to create an harmonious society, whereby we seek apology when we have gone wrong, when we bring everybody at the table to see how we can walk this journey together. Because both our constitution, the international human rights law, recognize that the right to a remedy is itself a fundamental right. Therefore, a person whose right is violated is entitled to access justice and to receive appropriate and effective redress. Consequently, we are here because the state has recognized its obligation to ensure that victims of human rights violations have access to effective and prompt reparations for harm suffered. The right to reparations is thus the promise of our Constitution. It is the demand of justice and a requirement of the rule of law. Your Excellency, for this reason, I am particularly pleased to witness the presentation of this report. And today's event is a recognition that pursuit of justice extends to accountability and meaningful redress. As the institution constitutionally entrusted with the interpretation and protection of our Constitution and the enforcement of fundamental rights, the judiciary remains steadfast in our commitment to ensuring that constitutional guarantees are not just aspirational promises, but lived realities for all Kenyans. Just like justice is a lived reality, so is our Constitution a lived reality. And we shall continue to discharge our mandate independently, impartially, and faithfully in line with the Constitution. Importantly, we remain committed to contribute to the broader national effort of strengthening constitutionalism, accountability, and the rule of law. And as I conclude, allow me, Your Excellency, to once again commend the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights and thank you, Your Excellency, for convening this occasion. May this report serve as an important step towards strengthening our collective commitment to justice, accountability, and the protection of human rights for all Kenyans. I thank you all, and God bless this great nation. Thank you.